welcome to Factorising Quadratics Advanced. Just before we start, a reminder that there is a notes chapter available for this video. Just check the description below for a download link and you can work along with me as we go through the video. Okay, so in this video we're going to actually be trying to factorise quadratic expressions where we have a coefficient of x squared. And so we're going to show you a step-by-step method for this. So step one is to multiply a by c, and so that means we multiply the coefficient of x squared by our value at the end of the expression. Step 2, we find factor pairs of this answer. Step 3, find the pair that add to make b, so the number in the middle of our expression, our coefficient of x. We then replace bx with the two values we have just found, split the expression into two pieces, factorise each part, and bring the two factors back together in a bracket. Pair it with the common factor, and that's it. Simple. Now that obviously is quite a long process, and it seems like it's got an awful lot involved, but I'm going to show you through a few examples exactly how easy this is. Okay, so in our first example we've been asked to factorise the following: 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. And we're just going to follow the step-by-step process that's on the right hand side just to see what we need to do in order to solve this problem. And so the first step is to multiply a by c, and so that means the coefficient of x squared, which is 2, multiplied by the number at the end, which is positive 3. If I multiply those together, I get positive 6. Now I'm looking for factor pairs, and the factor pairs also need to add to make this number in the middle, and therefore in this case, because they multiply to make a positive number and add to make a positive number, our factors are both going to be positive as well. And so which numbers will multiply to make positive 6? Well, that will be 1 and 6, it'll be 2 and 3. And so we've completed step 1 and step 2. Step 3 is to find the pair that add to make b, and so we're looking for the factor pair which will add to make positive 7. And so in this case that will be our top pair, 1 and 6. In step 4 it asks us to replace bx with the two values you've just found. Well, what that means is this 7x that we were dealing with, I'm going to split it into two pieces. I'm going to split it into plus 1x from the 1 and plus 6x from the 6, and I'll then have plus 3 at the end. Step 5 is to split the expression into two pieces, and what that means is to split it right down the middle here. So in between those two x's that you've just formed, split the expression in half. And we're then going to factorise each part. Now in this case, when we factorise it, we're going to have a single bracket involved. And so we look for the common factor of 2x squared and plus 1x. Well, the common factor of those two is x. X is multiplied by 2x to make 2x squared, and it's multiplied by plus 1 to make plus 1x. On the right hand side we're looking for the common factor of plus 6x and plus 3, and so in this case that is plus 3. And so then we want to know, what do we multiply 3 by to make 6x? Well, that is 2x. What do I multiply 3 by to make plus 3? Well, that is plus 1. And a little key here, this bracket should be the same in both cases. If it isn't, you just need to go back and just check you're working, because we should have the same value in both of those brackets. That's step 6 complete. What it says then is step 7, bring the two factors back together in a bracket. And so in this case what that means is we take the factors at the front, we bring them back together as a single bracket. So that is x plus 3. And then pair it with the common factor. Well, the common factor is the 2x plus 1. And what we've done is we have factorised the expression 2x squared plus 7x plus 3 as x plus 3, 2x plus 1. So let's try that all again. So we're going to follow the same step-by-step process, and we're going to try and factorise 3x squared plus 10x plus 8. So the first thing we need to do, multiply a by c, so 3 times 8, and so that is 24. And again, this number at the end is positive, so it's either 2 positives and 2 negatives, but the addition in the middle is positive, therefore we want 2 positive numbers which are going to multiply to make 24. So that's 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. And we've completed step 1, we've completed step 2. Step 3 would be to find the pair that add to make b. So we're looking for 2 numbers which are going to add to make positive 10. Well, that is going to be our final pair here, 4 and 6. So we're going to replace bx. So 3x squared is still there, but we're now going to split 10x into plus 4x and plus 6x. And the plus 8 is still there at the end. Split the expression in half. Split it in between the x's and then factorise. Well, what is the common factor between 3x squared and 4x? Well, it is x, and x multiplies by 3x plus 4. And on the right hand side, what is the common factor of plus 6x and plus 8? Well, that is positive 2. So positive 2 would be multiplied by 3x plus 4. And again, just check those brackets. They are the same expression, so that means we are on the right track. So finally, we're going to bring together our 2 factors in a bracket. So that's going to be x plus 2. And then we're going to bring together our common factor, 3x plus 4. And we have factorised the expression 3x squared plus 10x plus 8. So now we're going to introduce some negative values. I've got a negative 4 at the end of my expression. So I've got 6x squared plus 5x take away 4. And so first of all, step 1 of multiply a by c, it's exactly the same. It's 6 times negative 4. And so that means it's negative 24. And then what we are looking for is we're looking for 2 numbers that are going to multiply to make negative 24. Well, to multiply to make negative 24, it could be negative 1 and 24, or 1 and negative 24, 2 and negative 12, or negative 2 and 12. It could be 3 and negative 8, or negative 3 and positive 8. It could be 4 and negative 6, or negative 6 and positive 4. Any of those pairs would create negative 24 when multiplied, but the key is which ones will add to make b. So which ones will add to make positive 5? Well, it's going to be in here with our 3s and 8s. We need to make sure that when we add them, it creates a positive, and so the positive number must be the larger one. So the negative 3 and the positive 8. Still the same process as before. We're now going to break down our bx into 6x squared minus 3x plus 8x and take away 4. And then we're going to split our expression in half again in between the two x values in our expression, and then we're going to factorise. So what is the common factor between 6x squared and negative 3x? Well, it is 3x. And 3x would be multiplied by 2x to make 6x squared. 3x would be multiplied by negative 1 in order to make negative 3x. Now on the right hand side, it's important that we look here to make sure that we get the 2x negative 1 in our bracket, because we know that we should have the same. So what we want to do is just have a look at this and say, well, what is the common factor between plus 8x and negative 4? Well, the common factor is actually 4, and 4 times 2x, and 4 times negative 1 will give me negative 4. and we have got the same value in both brackets, 2x take away 1. And so finally, just as we did in the previous ones, we want to bring together our factors, so 3x plus 4, and we also want to bring our common factor, 2x minus 1, and we have factorised the expression. It will be 3x plus 4, 2x minus 1. So next we have 2x squared take away 3x take away 9. We've actually got two negatives in this one, but the key being, once again, the step one is all about multiplying a by c. So 2 times negative 9 gives us negative 18 as the value that we're going to use. And in this case, it's all about making sure that we add together to make a negative 3. So we just need to make our pairs of numbers which would multiply to make negative 18. And so that would be 1 and negative 18, or negative 1 and positive 18, 2 and negative 9, or negative 2 and positive 9, and could be 3, negative 6, or negative 3, 6. The key is we want a pair which would add to make negative 3. This means that in this case the negative number needs to be the larger one, and it's going to be this pair here, 3 and negative 6. And so we're going to replace bx. We're going to replace it with plus 3x and take away 6x. And then, as we've done in every question so far, split down the middle and then factorise. So what is the common factor of 2x squared and 3x? Well, the common factor is x, and that's going to be 2x plus 3. And then on the right hand side, this is where we have to be very careful. We have negative 6x and we have negative 9. The common factor between negative 6x and negative 9 is a negative value. It's actually negative 3. And so how many negative 3's make negative 6x? Well, that is 2x. And what do I multiply negative 3 by to make negative 9? Well, it is positive 3. And now you'll notice that we've got exactly the same value in both those brackets. So again, there's our clue that we're on the right lines. Finally, we're going to bring our factors together. So it's going to be x take away 3, and then bring together our common factor, 2x plus 3. And so our factorised version is x take away 3, 2x plus 3. And our last set of examples, we now have a positive value for c, but we have a negative value for b. Now what this is a suggestion is that we need two values of the same sign in order to make a positive, so either both positive or both negative. But the fact that the middle value, the b, means those numbers must add together to make a negative, telling me that both of my numbers are going to be negatives. And so we start with multiplying a by c. 3 times 10 is 30. And so we know that we're going to have two negative factors this time. So we're going to have negative 1 and negative 30, negative 2 and negative 15, negative 3 and negative 10, negative 5 and negative 6. And all we need to do is have a look at b, which is negative 17, and check which pair would make negative 17 when we add. And that's going to be negative 2 and negative 15. And so now I'm just going to split bx into those two pieces. So negative 3x take away 2x, take away 15x and plus 10, and then split in half and factorise. So what is the common factor of 3x squared and negative 2x? Well, the common factor is just x, and that would be multiplied by 3x take away 2. And on the right hand side, what is the common factor of negative 15x and positive 10? Well, we're going to have 5 at the front, but here we have to be really careful. We know we need to have a negative 2 inside of the bracket. Now, what do I multiply negative 2 by to make positive 10? Well, it's actually negative 5. And so at the front, this is going to be a negative 5 as our factor. And that means negative times 5 times 3x, well that is negative 15x, which is what we were looking for. And we've guaranteed that we've got the correct value in both brackets. And so finally, bring together our factors. We're going to have x take away 5. And then bring together the common factor, 3x take away 2. And what we've got is x take away 5, 3x take away 2. And so finally, we have 6x squared take away 17x plus 12. So once again, I'm going to multiply together my 6 and my 12. That's going to give me 72. This is a positive value, so we need two numbers with the same sign for our factors, but it is a negative on the value of b, and therefore both values must be negative. And so what are our factor pairs? Well, it's going to be negative 1 and negative 72, negative 2 and negative 36, negative 3 and negative 24, negative 4 and negative 18, negative 6, negative 12 and negative 8 and negative 9. So all of these are factor pairs to make positive 72, but the key is which one will add to make negative 17. Well, that is our final pair, negative 8 and negative 9. And so 6x squared, we're going to have take away 8x, take away 9x, and plus 12. And then split, factorise. So what is the common factor of 6x squared and negative 8x? Well, that is 2x. 2x would multiply by 3x to make 6x squared. 2x would multiply by negative 4 in order to make negative 8x. On the right hand side, again, remember we need to have 3x take away 4 in the bracket. And so the question is, what am I multiplying 3x by to make negative 9x? Well, that is a negative 3. Does negative 3 times negative 4 make 12? Yes, it does. So that is all correct. And so now we bring together our common factors, our factors of the two brackets, 2x take away 3, and then we bring together our common factor, 3x take away 4. And so 6x squared take away 17x plus 12 is the same as 2x minus 3, 3x minus 4. Finally, we come to the exam question, and it's a question that came from the Edexcel paper in June 2018, Higher Paper 1. But I just want to point out to start with here that questions on this topic are very rarely straightforward questions which just say factorise this expression. It will generally be something which is involved within another topic area, but it's a very useful skill in those areas. And one of those main areas would be algebraic fractions, where we're trying to simplify those fractions. The first thing we want to do in every case is to factorise the expressions to see if we have any common factors which we can cancel out. And so at the top you will notice we have an expression like the ones we've been looking at so far. 3x squared take away 8x take away 3. And so the first thing I want to do is to try to factorise that expression. And so 3x squared take away 8x take away 3. Now our first step every time has been to multiply a by c. And so if I multiply 3 by negative 3, it's negative 9. Now because this is a negative value at the end, that means I must have one positive value and one negative value. So I'm going to have positive 1 with negative 9, or negative 1 with positive 9, or I'm going to have 3 with negative 3, or the other way around, negative 3 with plus 3, but it will be the same pair. But what I want then is a pair which will add to make negative 8. And so in fact that is our very first pair here, 1 and negative 9. So I'm going to split my negative 8x. It's now going to be 3x squared plus 1x take away 9x take away 3. and I'm going to split in half and factorise. So in this case, what is the common factor of 3x squared and 1x? Well, it's simply x. X will be multiplied by 3x and x will be multiplied by positive 1. In the brackets over here, once again, I need to make sure that this is going to have 3x plus 1 in the bracket. And so what do I multiply 3x by to make negative 9x? Well, it is negative 3. And negative 3 times positive 1 is also negative 3, which I was hoping for. So let's bring together the two factors. X take away 3. And the common factor, 3x plus 1. And so that is now the top of my expression. The bottom I also want to simplify, and I want to simplify by factorising. And so I need to find the common factors of 2x squared and negative 6. Now this doesn't have a value for c at the end, therefore it is only a single bracket. And the common factor here would be 2x, as 2x goes into 2x squared and into negative 6x. 2x would be multiplied by x, and negative 6x, well, that would be negative 3. And so the expression, once it is factorised, it would be x take away 3, 3x plus 1, all over 2x brackets x take away 3. And whenever you are trying to simplify a fraction, what you are looking for is a common factor which you can divide the top and bottom by. And in this case, you will notice we have an x minus 3 on the top and the bottom. And therefore, they can both cancel out. And so the simplified version of this fraction would be 3x plus 1 on the top over 2x. And we have simplified that fraction.